welcome back. As I said in the last video, I'm gonna start working on the audio section of the radio. But first I would like to know, it would be cool to know how the radio is performing right now, so what it is doing right now, and then we can see if we can make a bit of a difference when we start working on the radio itself. So I haven't changed any of the components so far. I just want to check how the audio section is working at the moment. So I put the chassis here back on the workbench, and I connected the lighting again, so that should work. The lighting should light up. Then I have connected the multimeter to the B+, so that I can monitor a bit the B+. That should be around 275 volts DC on this radio. And then I connected the speaker, so the center speaker for the bass. I connected that one to this little speaker over here, and the other three speaker connections I just put some power resistors on them, so just to have some load on these connections. But one speaker is enough, of course, to hear if the audio section is working. Then I connected the signal generator to the pickup input, as you see here, and then I connected both probes of my oscilloscope to the left channel and the right channel. So I should be able to see both left and right channels on the oscilloscope. And then I only installed the amplification and the preamp tubes, so these 4 tubes should be normally enough to run the audio section of the radio. And then of course the power is plugged into the isolation transformer, and there I have some light bulbs in series, so I can make sure that it's well isolated, and also that the current is limited, and I can choose a bit how much light bulbs I put in series, so that I can fine-tune the voltage to more or less 230 volts, 220, 230 volts, which is what is a normal mains voltage here in Belgium. Okay, so and there you have the oscilloscope ready. So let's see what it does. Let's just fire it up and let's see what it does. Just like that. I haven't changed. So, like I said, I haven't changed anything. I also have not changed anything in the power supply section. So the bridge rectifier is still original, the selenium rectifier, and also the filter can is yet still unchanged. So let's see what it does. Okay, so let's do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to only put this light bulb here in series, which is a 15 watt light bulb. So that means that the current is very, very limited, just to make sure that there is nothing going wrong if there is a short. I'm going to put it on pickup input mono, so that's this button. Now let's see what it does. So that's lighting up, but it's drawing power, and it's also not lighting up completely, so that I think it should be fine. The B+ is now climbing to 70 volts. Let's give it another bulb. So yeah, clearly you can see that now the B+ is going to 270, 275, that's fine. It's seeing 190 volts AC at the moment, so that's everything is looking good. Oh, the indicator light is also working. Everything is looking quite good. There is no short in the radio, so let's give it another one. It's going up to 224 volts now. So that should be fine. So I'm gonna just leave it at that for the moment. The B plus is 265. So I think if I enable the signal generator and if the audio section is working, then we should already hear something. So let's just try that. I have a 500 Hertz tone here. Yeah, and I have 200 millivolts RMS. Let's see if we hear something. I do hear some noise. Yeah. Yeah, indeed, that's actually working. Great. Let's see if we can. Yeah, even so, changing the tone is also working fine. It's the B plus is now 258. It's a bit low, but it's working. And also the tuning here, the equalizer is very noisy, but it's also doing something, which is already fine, I guess. And let's try the stereo. No difference. Okay, cool. I'm already seeing, however, something on the scope which is a bit weird. So let me show you that. Okay, so I have, as I said, both channels, left and right channel, connected to the scope. As you can see, both of them on screen. I just put them a bit not on top of each other so you can see the difference. Okay, so let's power up the radio again. Let's see. I'm gonna put it on mono first. Okay, so the tone is now 400 Hertz, and let's see what's coming out. It's warming up. Yeah, you can already see something. I'm now turning the volume control, and so the volume control is working. However, there is the difference between two channels is quite drastic. It's and both of my channels on the scope, they are set exactly the same. So the amplitude between both channels the difference is quite big. So that's already something which is not good. And also, so if I put it on stereo, then it even get, well, the difference is, and the noise, there's also a lot of noise. And the difference between both channels is quite big, and you would say maybe it's the balance control, but the balance control isn't doing anything at all. So I think there is something wrong in that circuit for the balance control. Okay, so just a small additional remark. I just now only enabled the right channel, which is the one I think is the most problematic, and I put the frequency a little lower. So this is a 200 Hertz signal, and here you can clearly see that the waveform is severely deformed. It's not a nice sine wave here at all. So there is definitely something wrong here with the tone control, I think. If I do it lower, this is 100 Hertz, then you can even see it better. This is not really a sine wave anymore. See, it's not. So there are definitely some distortions here in this signal. So yeah, let's just start swapping out capacitors, I guess. So I'm gonna start by changing all the capacitors in the audio section and the tone control. So that's about this area here, except from these three here, which is the filter can. So the power section, I'm gonna leave it for later. and everything here on the left side is the radio part. Then that I'm also gonna leave for later. So I'm gonna focus on the audio section now, and here you can see is the pickup input. So that means that if you put in the signal here, then it goes all the way through here and here through the amplifier, tone control, everything here to the speakers. So that means that everything marked in pink here is what I'm gonna change now. So, and I'm also gonna stop stalling, and I'm actually gonna go to work. So I just put the radio upside down, and yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so a small update. I just swapped out 4 of the capacitors here on the output transformers. And in case you're wondering why I'm just swapping out all the paper capacitors and not just checking which ones are bad and just swapping those out, well, let me show you what the values are of these first 4 capacitors that I swapped out. So here they are. Let's see. So the first one, this one is in 1500 picofarad capacitor. And it's reading, well, it should be a 1500, and it's reading 3 nanofarads, so that's twice the amount that it should be, because normally 1500 picofarads it's 1.5 nanofarads, and this one is 3 nanofarads, so that's almost twice the amount as what it should be. Next one, also 2.69 instead of 2.96, 97 instead of 1.5, so also way out of spec. Then these big ones, they are 0.15 microfarads. So let's see what they read. This one is 168 nanofarads, so normally it should be 150. So it's not as bad as the previous one, but it's still like 30% out of spec, which is also way off. And then I guess the fourth one will be similar, and that one, well, 200 nanofarads instead of 150. So again, 30% or so, 1/3 out of spec, way too much. So you see all these paper caps, this type, they are all, I expect all of them to be out of spec, so I'll just swap out all of them instead of finding out the really bad ones, because I guess they will be all bad. So okay, so I changed some more caps, so these yellow ones here, and also there is an electrolytic one here. And then also there, those two. So on the schematic, this is all the ones which are here marked with the blue dot have been changed. So on the top side, all the ones on the transformers, and then here everything in this section. So this is basically the audio section, and then here you have the balance and the part of the equalizer control. So those ones have been changed. What was interesting to see is that there were 2 caps which were not original, and that was let me see here, this one and this one, and those 2 are the coupling caps before the grid of the amplifier tubes. So you see this cap here, for example, this is coupling the plate of this tube, which is a phase inverter, into the grid of the EL84 of the left channel of the radio. So this means that this cap is blocking the high voltage DC from going into the grid of the EL84. So that's quite an important cap, and I think it's also over its life quite stressed, so maybe something happened and both of these had to be changed at some point. This one is basically the same function, but there is on the right channel there is no phase inverter, so this is here the a coupling cap between the grid of the second EL84 tube and the plate here of the preamplifier tube. What was also interesting is that they were changed to two different ones. So let me see if I can find them. Yeah, here. So here they are. So that makes me suspect that they might not have been changed at the same time. I don't know. And also they have different values. So this one is a 22,000 picofarad or 22 nanofarad cap, which is correct, but this one is a 27. So I tested those, and funnily enough, these were still fine. These were still in spec, but I changed them out anyway because it looks better if they are all the same, and also to get both values in balance again. So yeah, it's also these caps are quite important because if they blow, then the high voltage DC current goes into the grid of the EL84s, which can be pretty bad. So I think I'm going to just now try to power it up and see if we already have an improvement. That would be nice to see. I still have to do these caps, and then also here on the pickup inputs, here there are also still some tone shaping caps. Those are still to be done. But honestly, I'm a bit bored at the moment. Well, not bored. I'm a bit fed up of fiddling with the caps at the moment. I just want to do something else. So I'm going to power on the radio and check if it is if this already has made some improvements. So long story short, not a lot of difference. So you see, there is still a huge amount of difference between the two channels. So yeah, I guess we need to continue looking, and I'm gonna just swap out all the rest of the capacitors in the tone circuit. So I hope that the error is somewhere in there. Anyway, they need to be swapped because all the capacitors I swapped so far, they measure at least 30% out of spec. So okay, well, I swapped out nearly all the capacitors in the audio circuit, in the amplifier stage and tone control, and look at this. See, both channels are now nicely in phase, and they are almost very similar in amplitude, but the issue was not in the capacitors, because after I swapped them out, the issue was still the same as before. The problem was one of the tubes was bad, so I swapped out one of the EL84s. So first I swapped them around, and then the issue swapped from the left channel to the right channel. So I just swapped both tubes, and look at that. So there is still a small discrepancy between the two channels, but that could still be caused by some capacitors which need to be changed around the circuit for the pickup input. So this one here, those I haven't changed yet. So that could still cause this, maybe, no idea. Or it could also still be that it's because these tubes are not completely exactly the same, because I just had them laying around. I knew that they were good, but I don't know the life of these tubes, how have they been used in the past. So could be that this still that the amplitude difference between both channels is due to that. But hey, this is already a lot better, eh? So both channels are nicely in phase now, and they are a bit off, but not much, not by much. This is really, really nice. So I'm very happy with this. So I think then the next part in the restoration, I'm going to turn this volume down a bit because it's getting annoying. I think the next part in this restoration process will be to start working on the radio section itself. So on the AM and the FM and the But again, it will be the same thing, swapping out a lot of capacitors. So I'm gonna leave it at this for this video. I made a lot of progress. I swapped out all these guys here and I checked them. They were all bad. Some were even like 200% out of spec. It was a good thing that they are swapped out. So I'm gonna move forward with swapping capacitors, and then in the next video I'll probably talk a bit about the radio section itself. So see you in the next video. Take care, stay safe, and if you like my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell button if you want to get notified when I post my next video. So see you in the next video. Bye bye.